So the two brand new releases by Terence Hughes are finally here. I think the newest one, to be honest with you, is Supernova. And here we have Onyx Extreme. Of course, I've owned Onyx in previous years. I just recently acquired Onyx Extreme. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on both of these fragrances in today's double feature review. So make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode, and I give you my thoughts on these two fragrances by Terence Hughes. They are Supernova, which is a great spring and summer type of a fragrance. And of course, we have Onyx Extreme. I do want to start the video off by saying that if you're a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified whenever I do upload future videos to the channel. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, or if you took something of value from today's episode. It would really mean a lot to me. Now, I've actually had the pleasure of meeting Aaron several years back, actually in February of 2020. So it was right before everything went haywire, and he is such an amazing, down-to-earth person, very humble, very easy to talk to, and I look forward to the day when we can cross paths again because he is incredibly passionate, incredibly talented, and it's an honor to call him a friend. Here we have two fragrances, Supernova and Onyx Extreme, and of course, looking at the note breakdown, I said, Supernova is going to be a love, right? I mean, they both have some really interesting facets, of course, with Onyx Extreme, with the raspberry, the sandalwood, the chocolate, the slight florals that are in there, the Thai oud. It seems like a very dark, deep, enigmatic, sensual release. And of course, with Supernova, you have the apple, the pineapple, Italian bergamot, you have sea notes, ambergris, oak moss. You have a lot of really wonderful elements in there. So in any case, I'm going to give you my thoughts on both of these fragrances. Let's go ahead and start things off with a quick look at the presentation first. So the first one that we'll start things off with is Supernova. So this is a brand new one. I believe the official launch date is April 28th, and I was looking on the website, and as of the time that I'm shooting this video, it's sold out. So unfortunately, I don't think too many people will be able to get their hands on it unless you pre-ordered or you ordered, and I think, you know, I'm sure that within time, Aaron is going to produce a second batch. So the citrus is so bright, so strong, so zesty. It opens up with this certain juiciness that is beyond compare. I mean, the Italian bergamot, the grapefruit, the orange, whatever other citrus is in here is so zesty and so photorealistic. And of course, you take a look at some of the heart notes like the fruity pineapple and the apple, and there is a certain tartness that is coming from the pineapple as well. And I feel like that's such a beautiful compliment to the bergamot and of course the other zesty ingredients in the opening. And I know there's grapefruit in there because there's a certain tartness. And funny enough, I said there's something else in here that gives it this zingy characteristic in the opening. And then of course, when I looked in the note breakdown, I noticed that there's also ginger in this fragrance. So I think it's that combination of the pineapple, the sea notes, the ambergris, the ginger, and the citrus that gives it this powerful, refreshing punch in the opening. It's so zesty, so animated, so full of life. And Supernova is truly a special release in that sense. Now, of course, pineapple, apple, bergamot, patchouli, so on and so forth, ambergris. Is this going to smell like Creed Aventus? I think there's a similarity. I do think there's a similarity. Is it 100% like Creed Aventus? Absolutely not. This fragrance does go in its own direction eventually, but I think the bergamot and pineapple in the opening, for a lot of people, will be reminiscent of Creed Aventus, where it kind of sort of seems to go in this fruity chypre territory, but eventually it does settle down into something unique and original, and it does its own thing, and the performance on this thing is completely a beast. So for me personally, that ginger rare ambergris grapefruit thing that's in here. Momentarily, I was inclined to think about some previous releases from the brand, especially Haze Blue and Haze Black. If you've tried the Haze siblings, you'll notice that there's a bit of a similarity there. And of course, I was also reminded of fragrances like Bulgari Tiger. So if you've ever tried Bulgari Tiger or Burlington 1819 by Roja Parfum, there's a lot of other fragrances that have that bright, zesty grapefruit in the opening. Even the Key by Navitus Parfum. This fragrance kind of has that. So it's kind of like a fusion, a mashup, or a hybrid of like a Creed Aventus and a Bulgari Tiger with really, really, really high quality ingredients. And I think because it can't be pinpointed down to one specific fragrance, that only adds to the uniqueness. It doesn't curtail it, it actually adds to the uniqueness. So I really appreciate this one. This has the potential of being the next big seller from the house, and I think it will be. I'm almost 100% confident that it will be. It is such an amazing hotter weather, spring and summer, bright, zesty, fruity, juicy, overripe type of a fragrance. And the citrus especially is so high quality. Supernova is phenomenal. If you can try it out, I couldn't recommend it enough. Please, please get your nose on it. The woods, the citrus, just everything about it. Of course, we also have Onyx Extreme. And this fragrance really warmed down to something special. It's amazing because in the opening, you get the chocolate, you get the woods, that Thai oud that's in there. And now I'm smelling it and it's very creamy and dulcet. The sandalwood has made its way in there. The raspberry, that slightly floral component that's in here too. And I feel like this one is really warm. It's a touch vanillic as well. It's smooth, it's creamy, and it's just so decadent. This one is absolutely amazing. You know, interestingly enough, I do get a little bit of rose in the opening as well. And I would say, because the original Onyx is something that I've compared to Coromandel by Chanel, or even Richwood by Xerjoff. Well, this fragrance, I think, is kind of a mashup between More Than Words by Xerjoff or Armani's Rose d'Arabie, which is part of the Armani Privé line, and of course, that sort of Richwood, right? So Richwood and More Than Words, it just kind of course, it's totally unique and it does its own thing, but I'm using these other fragrances as a frame of reference or a comparison to sort of facilitate your understanding of what these fragrances will smell like, especially since smell-o-vision doesn't exist quite yet. But this is truly remarkable. What a beautiful fragrance. I love just how dark and earthy and sweet and oudy and creamy, the sandalwood, the chocolate, the raspberry, everything about it is truly wonderful and superb. And my only criticism about it is that I think it's suited for the colder weather. Of course, if you're wearing it indoors in a climate-controlled environment, these rules don't apply. Wear whatever you want, wherever you want. But of course, I think Supernova is a great spring and summer. I think Onyx Extreme is a great fall and winter. But both of these fragrances are stunning and phenomenal. Please get your nose on them if you have the opportunity to do so. You will not regret it. You will fall in love with both of them. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. Now, first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, both of these fragrances have a certain level of uniqueness to them. Of course, I've made comparisons and frames of reference, but that's just to get you to understand what you could possibly expect to smell from these fragrances a little bit better. The overall smell, of course, both are mass appealing. I do think Supernova is a bit more mass appealing than Onyx Extreme. I think Onyx Extreme, especially because of the oud and the woods, although it's not barnyardy or anything like that, it doesn't push any envelopes. I do think that Supernova especially is going to have this universal sort of a mass appeal about it. Super high compliment factor. Longevity on both of them, 10 plus hours, phenomenal longevity. That's something that can be said about all Terence Hughes creations. Of course, we have the projection, with which for both of them radiated way beyond an arm's length. Supernova about an hour and a half, Onyx Extreme for about 45 minutes to an hour. They both became an elbow's length scent right around hours 6.5 or 7, a skin scent right around hours 10 or 11. In terms of the versatility, I think they're both formal occasion fragrances. Supernova can be worn casually. Onyx Extreme, I think, is more of a formal scent. Supernova, spring and summer. Onyx Extreme, fall and winter. I think Supernova is probably the one that some people might argue leans a little bit masculine, but I do think Onyx Extreme, excuse me, is perfectly unisex. And I think Supernova will appeal to anybody of any age. I think Onyx Extreme will probably appeal to somebody who's perhaps a little bit older, a little bit more experienced with dealing with niche fragrances. And in terms of the presentation, I think the new presentation, the new labels, the caps, the crystals on the caps, everything about it is such a massive upgrade, and I love it. My final verdict on these fragrances is 2 fragrances for 2 times of the year. Phenomenal fragrances, really high quality ingredients, expert craftsmanship, and Terence Hughes, I think, knocked it out of the park with these 2 releases. And of course, I'm very happy for his success, and I'm going to leave his YouTube channel down below as well. Of course, he has the Perfumer Review series, so I enjoy watching his videos from time to time, and I would suggest that you check him out as well. He's incredibly talented. Thank you so much for joining me today. That was my review of the 2 brand new fragrances by Terence Hughes. They are Supernova and Onyx Extreme. If you own or have tried any of ATH fragrances, let me know what you think. Leave your comment down below. Always love the interaction. I love reading what you guys have to say. Also, if you enjoyed today's video, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell icon and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks again for watching. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.